Magadhari. Jai Om Vishnupad Paramahamsa Parivrajacharya Ashvotara Shata Srimad A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada Ki Jai. Jai Om Vishnupad Paramahamsa Parivrajacharya Ashvotara Shata Srimad Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Goswami Maharaj Prabhupada Ki Jai. Ananta Koti Vaishnava Vrinda Ki Jai. Namacharya Srila Haridas Thakur Ki Jai. Prem se Gaur Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Shiva Sari Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Ki Jai. Shri Shri Radha Krishna Gopa Gopinath Shamakunda Radha Kunda Giri Govardhan Ki Jai. Vrindavan Dham Ki Jai. Navadip Dham Ki Jai. Mathura Dham Ki Jai. Jagannath Puri Dham Ki Jai. Bhakti Devi Ki Jai. Tulasi Devi Ki Jai. Yamuna Mai Ki Jai. Ganga Mai Ki Jai. Samaveta Bhakta Vrinda Ki Jai. All glories to the assembled devotees. All glories to the assembled devotees. All glories to the assembled devotees. All glories to Sri Guru and Sri Gauranga. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 1, Chapter 16, verse 26 through 30. We'll do the first one. Satyang Shocham Daya Kshantis Tyaga Santosha Arjavam Shamo Damas Tapa Samyang Titiksho Parati Shrutam Satyam Shocham Daya Kshantis Tyaga Santosha Arjavam Shamodamastapa Samyam Titiksho Parati Shutam Satyam Shocham Daya Kshantis Tyaga Santosha Arjavam Shamodamastapa Samyam Titiksho Parati Shrutam Satyam Shochang Daya Kshantis Tyaga Santosha Arjavam Shamodamastapa Samyang Titiksho Parati Shrutam. Satyam Shocham Dayak Shantis Satyam Shocham Dayak Shantis Tyaga Santosha Arjavam Tyaga Santosha Arjavam Shamodamastapa Samyang Shamodamastapa Samyang Titiksho Parati Shutam Titiksho Parati Shutam. Satyam Shocham Dayak Shantis Satyam Shocham Dayak Shantis Tyaga Santosha Arjavam Tyaga Santosha Arjavam Shamodamastapa Samyam Shamodamastapa Samyam Titiksho Parati Shrutam Titiksho Parati Shrutam.
Satyam Shocham Daya Shantis
Satyam Shocham Dayak Shantis
Tyaga Santosha Arjavam
Tyaga Santosha Arjavam
Shamodamastapa Samyam
Shamodamastapa Samyang
Titiksho Paritai Shutam
Titiksho Parate Shutam
Satyam Shocham Daya Kshantis
Satyam Socham Dayak Shantis
Tyaga Santosha Arjavam
Tyaga Santosha Arjavam
Shamodamastapa Samyam
Shamodamastapa Samyang
Titiksho Parati Shutam
Titiksho Parate Shutam Satyam Socham Dayak Shantis Satyam Socham Dayak Shantis Tyaga Santosha Arjavam Tyaga Santosha Arjavam Samodamastapa Samyam Shamodamastapa Samyang Titiksho Parivati Shutam Titiksho Parate Shutam
Satyam Socham Dayakshantis
Satyam Socham Dayak Shantis
Tyaga Santosha Arjavam
Tyaga Santosha Arjavam
Shamodamastapa Samyam
Any chanters online? Okay.
Satyam
So,
Shocham Daya Shantis
Satyam Socham Dayak Shantis
Tyaga Santosha Arjavam
Tyaga Santosha Arjavam
Shamodamastapa Samyang
Samodamastapa Samyang
Titiksho Parati Shutram
Titiksho Parate Shutam. Okay. So now I'll chant the rest of the Sanskrit verses. If you have that with you, then please chant that. Jnanam viraktir aishvaryam shoryam tejo balam smritihi svantartyam koshalam krantir daryam madhavam evacha pragalbyam prashrayashilam saha ojo balam bhagah gambiram stairam astikyam Kitirmanno nahan kritihi ete chanye cha bhagavan nityayatra mahagunaha prartya mahattvang ichadvir na vinyanti smakarhichit tenaham guna patrena Srinivasena sampratam sochami rahitang lokam papamana Kalinekshitam Satyam truthfulness, Shocham cleanliness, Daya intolerance of others, unhappiness, Kshantihi self-control even if there is cause of anger, Tyagaha magnanimity, Santoshaha self-satisfaction, Arjavam straightforwardness, Shamaha fixing of the mind, Damaha control of the sense organs, Tapaha trueness to one's responsibility, Samyam indiscrimination between friend and foe, Titiksha tolerance of the offenses of others, Uparatihi indifference to loss and gain, Shrutam following scriptural injunctions, Jnanam knowledge, self-realization. Viraktihi, detachment from sense enjoyment. Aishvaryam, leadership. Shauryam, chivalry. Tejaha, influence. Balam, to render possible that which is impossible. Smritihi, to find one's proper duty. Svatarantriyam, not to depend on others. Koshalam, dexterity in all activities. Kantihi, beauty. Dharyam, freedom from disturbance. Mardavam, kind-heartedness. Eva, thus. Cha, also. Pragalbyam, ingenuity. Prashrayaha, gentility. Shilam, mannerliness. Sahaha, determination. Ojaha, perfect knowledge. Balam, proper execution. Bhagaha, object of enjoyment. Gambhiryam, joyfulness. Stairyam, immovability. Astikyam, faithfulness. Kirtihi, fame. Manaha, worthy of being worshipped. Anahan, kritihi, pridelessness. Ete, all these. Cha anye, also many others. Cha, and. Bhagavan, the personality of Godhead. Nityaha, everlasting. Yatra, where? Mahagunaha, great qualities. Prartayaha, worthy to possess. Mahatvam, greatness. Ichadbihi, those who desire so. Na, never. Viyanti, deteriorates. Sma, ever. Karhichit, at any time. Tena, by him. Aham, myself. Gunapatrena, the reservoir of all qualities. Shri, the goddess of fortune. Nivasena, by the resting place. Sampratam, very recently. Shochami, I am thinking of. Rahitam, bereft of. Lokam, planets. Papmana, by the store of all sins. Kalina, by Kali. Ikshitam, is seen. Translation and purport by His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada. In him reside 1. Truthfulness. 2. Cleanliness. 3. Intolerance of another's unhappiness. 4. The power to control anger. 5. Self-satisfaction. 6. Straightforwardness. 7. Steadiness of mind. 8. Control of the sense organs. 9. Responsibility. 10. Equality. 11. Tolerance. 12. Equanimity. 13. Faithfulness. 14. Knowledge. 15. Absence of sense enjoyment. 16. Leadership. 17. Chivalry. 18. Influence. 19. The power to make everything possible. 20. The discharge of proper duty. 21. Complete independence. 22. Dexterity. 23. Fullness of all beauty. 24. Serenity. 25. Kindheartedness. 26. Ingenuity. 27. Gentility. 28. Magnanimity. 29. Determination. 30. Perfection in all knowledge. 31. Proper execution. 32. Possession of all objects of enjoyment. 33. Joyfulness. 34. Immovability. 35. Fidelity. 36. Fame. 37. Worship. 38. Pridelessness. 39. Being as the personality of Godhead. 40. Eternity and many other transcendental qualities which are eternally present and never to be separated from Him. That personality of Godhead, the reservoir of all goodness and beauty, Lord Sri Krishna has now closed His transcendental pastimes on the face of the earth. In His absence, the age of Kali has spread its influence everywhere. So I am sorry to see this condition of existence. Purport. Even if it were possible to count the atoms after smashing the earth into powder, still it would not be possible to estimate the unfathomable transcendental qualities of the Lord. It is said that Lord Anantadev has tried to expound the transcendental qualities of the Supreme Lord with his numberless tongues, and that for numberless years together it has been impossible to estimate the qualities of the Lord. The above statement of the qualities of the Lord is just to estimate His qualities as far as a human being is able to see Him. But even if it is so, the above qualities can be divided into many subheadings. According to Srila Jiva Goswami, the third quality, intolerance of another's unhappiness, can be subdivided into 1. Protection of the surrendered souls, and 2. Well wishes for the devotees. In the Bhagavad Gita, the Lord states that He wants every soul to surrender unto Him only, and He assures everyone that if one does so, He will give protection from the reactions of all sins. Unsurrendered souls are not devotees of the Lord, and thus there is no particular protection for everyone in general. For the devotees, He has all good wishes, and for those who are actually engaged in loving transcendental service of the Lord, He gives particular attention. He gives direction to such pure devotees who help them discharge their responsibilities on the path back to Godhead. By equality, 10. The Lord is equally kind to everyone, as the sun is equal in distributing its rays over everyone. Yet, there are many who are unable to take advantage of the sun's rays. Similarly, the Lord says that surrendering unto Him is the guarantee for all protection from Him. But unfortunate persons are unable to accept this proposition, and therefore they suffer from all material miseries. So even though the Lord is equally well-wishing to everyone, the unfortunate living being, due to bad association only, is unable to accept His instructions in toto. And for this, the Lord is never to be blamed. He is called the well-wisher for the devotees only. He appears to be partial to His devotees, but factually the matter rests on the living beings to accept or reject equal treatment by the Lord. The Lord never deviates from His word of honor. When He gives assurance for protection, the promise is executed in all circumstances. It is the duty of the pure devotee to be fixed in the discharge of the duty entrusted to him by the Lord, or the Lord's bona fide representative, the spiritual master. The rest is carried on by the Lord without a break. The responsibility of the Lord is also unique. The Lord has no responsibility because all His work is done by His different appointed energies, but still He accepts voluntarily responsibilities in displaying different roles in His transcendental pastimes. As a boy, He was playing the part of a cowboy. As the son of Nanda Maharaj, He discharged responsibility perfectly. Similarly, when He was playing the part of a Kshatriya as the son of Maharaj Vasudev, He displayed all the skill of a martially spirited Kshatriya. In almost all cases, the Kshatriya king has to secure a wife by fighting or kidnapping. This sort of behavior for a Kshatriya is praiseworthy in the sense that a Kshatriya must show his power of chivalry to his would-be wife, so that the daughter of a Kshatriya can see the valor played of her would-be husband. Even the personality of Godhead, Sri Rama, displayed such a spirit of chivalry during his marriage. He broke the strongest bow, called Haradhanur, and achieved the hand of Sita Devi, the mother of all opulence. The Kshatriya spirit is displayed during marriage festivals, and there is nothing wrong in such fighting. Lord Sri Krishna discharged such responsibility fully, because although he had more than 16,000 wives, in each and every case he fought like a chivalrous Kshatriya and thus secured a wife. To fight 16,000 times to secure 16,000 wives is certainly possible only for the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Similarly, he displayed full responsibility in every action of his different transcendental pastimes. The 14th quality, knowledge, can be further extended into 5 subheadings, namely 1. Intelligence, 2. Gratefulness, 3. Power of understanding the circumstantial environments of place, object, and time, 4. Perfect knowledge of everything, and 5. Knowledge of the self. Only fools are ungrateful to their benefactors. The Lord, however, does not require benefit from anyone besides himself, because he is full in himself. Still, he feels benefited by the unalloyed services of his devotees. The Lord feels grateful to his devotees for such unsophisticated, unconditional service and tries to reciprocate it by rendering service. Although the devotees also has no such desire in his heart. The transcendental service of the Lord is itself a transcendental benefit for the devotee, and therefore the devotee has nothing to expect from the Lord. On the assertion of the Vedic aphorism, Sarvam Kalav Idam Brahma, we can understand that the Lord, by his omnipresent rays of his effulgence called Brahma Jyoti, is all-pervading inside or outside of everything, like the omnipresent material sky, and thus he is also omniscient. As far as the beauty of the Lord is concerned, he has some special features that distinguish him from all other living beings. And over and above that, he has some special attractive, beautiful features by which he attracts the mind of even Radharani, the supermost beautiful creation of the Lord. He is known therefore as Madan Mohana, or one who attracts the mind of even Cupid. Srila Jiva Goswami Prabhu has scrutinizingly analyzed other transcendental qualities of the Lord and affirms that Lord Sri Krishna is the absolute supreme personality of Godhead, Parabrahman. He is omnipotent by his inconceivable energies, and therefore he is Yogeshvara, or the supreme master of all mystic powers. Being the Yogeshvara, his eternal form is spiritual, a combination of eternity, bliss, and knowledge. The non-devotee class cannot understand the dynamic nature of his knowledge because they are satisfied to reach up to his They are satisfied to reach up to his eternal form of knowledge. All great souls aspire to be equal in knowledge with him. This means that all other knowledge is ever insufficient, flexible, and measurable, whereas the knowledge of the Lord is ever fixed and unfathomable. Srila Sutta Goswami affirms in the Bhagavatam that although he was observed by the citizens of Dwaraka every day, they were ever increasingly anxious to see him again and again. The living beings can appreciate the qualities of the Lord as the ultimate goal, but they cannot attain the status quo of such equality. This material world is a product of the Mahat Tattva, which is a state of the Lord's dreaming condition in his Yoga Nidra, mystic slumber, in the causal ocean. And yet the whole creation appears to be a factual presentation of his creation. This means that the Lord's dreaming conditions are also factual manifestations. He can therefore bring everything under his transcendental control, and thus whenever and wherever he does appear, he does so in his fullness. The Lord, being all that is described above, maintains the affairs of the creation, and by his so doing, he gives salvation even to his enemies who are killed by him. He is attractive even to the topmost liberated soul, and thus he is worshipable even by Brahma and Shiva, the greatest of all demigods. Even in his incarnation of Purusha Avatar, he is the Lord of the creative energy. The creative material energy is working under his direction, as confirmed in the Bhagavad Gita 9.10. He is the control switch of the material energy. And to control the material energy in the innumerable universes, he is the root cause of innumerable incarnations in all the universes. There are more than 500,000 incarnations of Manu in only one universe, besides other incarnations in different universes. In the spiritual world, however, beyond the Mahat Tattva, there is no question of incarnations, but there are plenary expansions of the Lord in different Vaikunthas. The planets in the spiritual sky are at least 3 times the number of those within the innumerable universes in the Mahat Tattva. And all the Narayan forms of the Lord are but expansions of his Vasudev feature. And thus, he is Vasudev, Narayan, and Krishna simultaneously. He is Sri Krishna Govinda, Hare Murare, He Nata Narayana Vasudeva, all in one. His qualities therefore cannot be counted by anyone, however great one may be. So, this is a really nice purport. I've always thought that maybe it'd be nice I could take a purport and then I find all the scriptural evidences for each line that Prabhupada makes. Because basically all this is other things that we already heard from different shlokas, different places. But Prabhupada just is putting it together right there. But that would be helpful for us probably. So I was thinking of the first verse of Bhagavatam near the end, and how also Prabhupada mentions some points from the Brahma Samhita. The Brahma Samhita has a law of knowledge, so that's not very specific. But let's go through a little bit of it. Prabhupada doesn't actually go into every single one of the qualities in name, but he does touch on many of these points. Specifically, Prabhupada speaks about how there are a number unlimited qualities of the Lord. He touches that on the first part of the purport and also at the end of the purport. So Prabhupada caps the purport with those two, with that point, that his qualities are not to be counted by anyone. And Anantadev, one of the Lord's Anantadev is actually trying to expound all these transcendental qualities, and still, for unlimited years, he can't actually come to the end of it. So then Prabhupada goes into the point that many of these qualities which are here in this verse can be expanded, and Srila Jiva Goswami has done so for the third quality, which is called intolerance of another's unhappiness. Prabhupada goes into the point, though, that actually this is mostly concerning the devotees, and that actually the unsurrendered souls, they don't get a particular protection. And actually, he sums it up. He says, unsurrendered souls are not devotees of the Lord, and thus there is no particular protection for everyone in general. So that means that the material energy has been deputed to deal with these souls. And He gives direction. He has all good wishes, and for those who are actually engaged in loving transcendental service of the Lord, he gives particular attention. So he has good wishes for everyone. And what is that wish? You should come and surrender unto me, because that is your benefit. And as is mentioned often, that is the mission of the Lord, coming to the material world, giving us the scriptures, giving us the spiritual master, giving us the sadhus, to reclaim the fallen conditioned souls. So he wishes us well. We can see that by the practical exhibition of Lord Nityananda and Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu and their associates. They want us to take up this happy way of life, but particular protection is given to the surrendered souls. So Prabhupada then touches on number 10, which is equality. He gives an example, which is that the sun spreads rays everywhere, but some people are unable to accept. He says, are unable to take advantage of the sun's rays. More or less, if you turn your back to the sun, then you don't, you may not experience the benefit. Or as like an owl, Maharaj has mentioned that there's the light. The light is shining. It's very clear as day. The truth is there. You can see God everywhere if you want to, but especially when you hear from the sadhus and the saints and the scripture, and still we have our eyes shut like an owl. So that's unfortunate for us. So those persons that are unfortunate and unable to accept, they are to be blamed, not God, which is interesting. Prabhupada makes that point, that he appears to be partial to his devotees, but factually the matter rests on the living being to accept or reject equal treatment by the Lord. So he appears to be partial to his devotees, but that's natural. And his mercy is available to everyone. So if we can't get it, then that's our issue, unfortunately. That's our hang up. So, lucky for us, Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu and Lord Nityananda, they'll give it to us either way, as long as we chant. And there's many more points here in this purport. Prabhupada mentions the Lord, the responsibility of the Lord is also unique. He has no responsibility because he appointed his energies. Vividhaya, I think it's Vividhaya Shriyate. Parasya Shaktir Vividhaya Shriyate. So this is the Lord's energies are actually doing all the activities, but he does take responsibility to enact his pastimes personally, which is just his own sweet will, which is nice for us, because his pastimes are so attractive, and he plays those roles perfectly. Prabhupada points out that when he was a coward boy, he was perfect. When he was a kshatriya, he was perfect. Nobody can do what he did, especially his fighting for 16,000 wives. Prabhu? Do something?
The atheists and the impersonalists have increased so much that to even imagine that God has form and has qualities is very difficult for them, for anyone to accept, because the responsibility of the religious leaders and the parents and the leaders of society they have failed to supply an interest or to create an interest in the next generations to know about God's qualities. So now they're completely uninterested. They don't believe in such a person as God. And they'd rather put their time and energy in glorifying some ordinary person for ordinary activities rather than hearing about the activities of the Supreme Lord. And we're all to blame for this because we've not taken the responsibility to teach those who are under our care. That means the children, the offspring, or the citizens. They're innocent, but they need to be properly guided. If they have not been so, they don't believe in God, and therefore they turn to atheism and impersonalism, avoidism. Therefore we have to loudly present or strongly present the personality of Godhead. And as Prabhupada wrote his Krishna book, it was quite a shocking thing. Krishna, the Supreme Personality of Godhead. And he was showing that God is a person and has qualities. He has individual qualities with relationships, with interactions with all different types of persons, and with superiors and with friends and children and enemies and everything. So there's no reason not to accept that all these things are true. It's been documented in the Vedic literatures. No one can say that the Vedas are unauthorized. They're as authorized as any other literature could be because it's presented by such great authors as Vyasadeva and Brahma, and all these great personalities who are qualified by academic wisdom and by character, culture, they're recognized in society. And it's not that it's not presented in an understandable or acceptable way because the Sanskrit language is so cultured and refined that everyone should have respect for the scriptures that are presented in that language. And we see that even the representatives of this culture today throughout the world, the Sanatana Dharma proponents, the Vaishnavas, they also exhibit exemplary qualities and character, culture, education. So there's no reason to repudiate or reject the knowledge that Krishna or God is a person and he's noble and is sensible, and if we get to know him, then we'll see that he's very perfect as personality of God. So I'd like to say that, and thank you very much.
Thank you. Srimad Bhagavatam ki jai, Srila Prabhupada ki jai. All glories to the assembled